Hey everybody, Erin here. So what I've been doing over the past, 3 weeks maybe or so, is when I've been planting something that probably isn't like a big enough thing to make its own video on, I've just been grabbing the camera and trying to film a little bit about this. So that's what you're gonna see today, is just me planting a few things. If we like this, I might batch more of this. This is just my quick way to show you what's planting and what's interesting. And today what I'm planting is hardy plumbago, Ceratostigma plumbaginoides. I saw this all over the gardens in Philadelphia when I was there last year, and I loved it. Now I've seen it listed as zone 5 hardy and zone 6 hardy. I am technically 6, but probably 5. So I've got myself a flat of this, and what this is a fabulous ground cover with a true blue flower on it. Really great foliage color. Now some people hate this thing because I think all ground covers, somebody hates it. Because for somebody it went too far. So, you know, approach ground covers with, I don't know, a bit of caution, I guess, because not every ground cover is for every garden or for every gardener. So this is basically full sun, at least for me. You know, in the south, you're probably looking for afternoon shade on this. I think it's lovely, and I can't wait to add some of it in. Now, I've seen spacing recommendations of 18 inches or 12 inches on this, but I do believe this gets pretty big, which is great. So this tray that I have here is going to go a fair amount away. So I'm going to be planting this in the new shrub border mixed hedge, not shrub border, mixed hedge between us and the neighbors. And I've just been spending a little bit of time weeding over there. It is a very weedy mess. Last year we threw, we put a lot of composted leaves from the neighbor's pile on there, and it wasn't hot compost because there's just a lot of weeds. And a lot of maple seedlings, which will happen forever because there's a maple tree that kind of overhangs that. So that's where I'm going to be planting this. I think the neighbor might be mowing right on the other side of it, so probably won't be any audio during it, but I thought you'd like to see that. These are the plants. This is a great plug size, and I think when I planted that last year I probably said I wasn't going to do anything but what was there, but I definitely have decided ground covers are the way to go here. I don't want to have to keep mulching that all the time. I do have some geranium macrorrhizum, I think it's Bevan's variety, planted in there. There's a little bit of lamium that actually was just left there from what was there before. So I think this will be a good addition. Maybe we'll make a little bit of a tapestry of ground covers over there in the future. So we are going to go get this planted. Shouldn't take any time at all. So I am going to focus on planting this kind of on this end mostly, near this aronia. It will look fabulous with the Glow Girl spirea. You know, blue and chartreuse is totally my jam. And kind of around in this area, and then to the Fothergilla here, which is in flower. Love it. Legends of the Small is this variety. And I've been kind of cleaning this area out a little bit so that we've got some room to throw some of these in there. Okay, those didn't go nearly as far as I thought they would. That's okay. Like I said, we can divide them later. If I like them, I can get more. I'm not gonna worry about it. It's just one little step in the process here. Okay, now you're gonna see some other stuff that I've been planting over the last few weeks. Enjoy. Hey everyone, Erin the Impatient Gardener coming to you from my southeastern Wisconsin zone 5B6A garden. And I'm kind of in the middle of a project, but I want to quick grab the camera to bring you in on this because I want to show you what I'm planting in this area, because it's a bit of a departure for me for this specific spot in the garden. So I am standing by a portion of the driveway garden. This was planted in 2018, and this was originally planted to create a bit of an entry at our end of our driveway, but also to create a bit of a screen from the neighbors over here, which has been working fairly well. But the idea behind this was that I wasn't trying to create any additional maintenance. So I want to keep it super simple. So when I originally planted this, there were just 3 plants. There were 3 Alberta spruces in here, dwarf Alberta spruces. I don't think the dwarf part matters. 2 pagoda dogwoods, multi-stems, a whole bunch of Aquilegia macra, that's the species, just the straight green one, and then 5 boxwoods in there. Now, a couple of years ago, you might remember that this was the spot where I found boxwood blight in my garden. I did a whole series of videos on this. It's a continuing theme for me because I sort of live in fear of it. But at the time, I was only the 5th homeowner in the state of Wisconsin who had identified boxwood blight in my landscape. There had been some nurseries and other places where it had been found, but I was only the 5th homeowner, and I was the first one in my county. So I worked really closely with the Department of Agriculture because I sent in my samples to the state lab, and that set up a series of things that happened very rapidly. But the Department of Agriculture was pretty clear about it. They wanted those out of there badly. So I followed all their instructions. There was a suit involved. I found a morel during that. And it was kind of sad, but I pulled all those boxwoods out and we burned them immediately. And basically, because of that boxwood blight, I generally avoid going in this garden too much because those spores can live for up to 5 years. And I was going to replace those boxwoods, but then I realized that this Aquilegia macra in this garden is so happy. It stands, 40 inches tall probably, which is much bigger than it's supposed to get, but it's very happy here and it's very pretty. And I just thought, well, we don't need to fill this in. It's really grown quite a lot since 2018. I started thinking about it, and there are more things that could happen here in spring while that Aquilegia is coming up because it's just now sprouting. So that led me to this columbine. I don't grow a lot of it, and I should. It's a lovely little thing. And I picked up 3 of these. 2 of them are looking quite sad because they were not properly cared for once I bought them. But I bought these just so I could show you, the flower. Now this is the Kirigami mix, and in 2019, 18, I met the breeder of this plant. It was one of the first times I had met a breeder who could talk to me specifically about his plant, and this was kind of a pet project to his that he was working on, and it came to fruition. So I always think this is just kind of a good story. And this Kirigami, I think it's supposed to have bigger flowers than other ones. So I'm going to plant some of these in there because I think these will bloom and look great in there before the grasses are really going, and then they'll be kind of done by the time the grasses get there. At least that's the theory. But this is just an example, because what I'm really planting is this, and that's what I want to show you. This is Kirigami, and I have Kirigami rose and oh, I didn't buy any blue ones. I purposely bought blue because I thought I was growing blue. No, I have Kirigami rose and pink and Kirigami yellow. So, and we're gonna have a couple of blue ones in there. So I grew these from seed. They were very easy to grow from seed. They needed a cold stratification period in the fridge, and then they popped up, and now they're in these cells, and I haven't really thinned them much, but they are happy little plants. And Columbine is Aquilegia, is known to be a very good reseeder. In fact, they're a little bit promiscuous, so a lot of times you end up with plants that don't look like the one that you grew. But these are nice little plugs. Even though I didn't thin these out, I figure they don't thin themselves out, and they manage to pop up in my garden. So I'm going to plant these guys in here, which will get these out of the greenhouse and get me some more room, but hopefully will grow really well. And I guess I wanted to show you that these 3 pots were $21, I think. So those are tall 4-inch pots. That was $21 for 3 of those. And that was, let's just take a guess and say $4. Well, maybe even $3 for 2 packs of seed. A lot of times we think about seeding annuals, which is mostly what I do, but there are perennials that you can seed. And now granted, those are not going to bloom this year, quite obviously. But I missed the bloom on these anyway. By the way, I did, make sure to keep these close so that they would have seed on them still. So when they do drop their seed, they're dropping it in here. And they were not difficult to grow at all. So, you know, I think when we talk about saving money, that was a very easy plant to grow. And there are perennials that are very easy to grow. What are these about? Okay, this is part of the boxwood blight situation in here. Now, I have, when I got boxwood blight, I bought a whole bag of these little booties. I wear booties in this garden so that I don't traipse this around. If there are any spores, I don't want to carry those boxwood blight spores around in my garden. And I use disposable gloves when I'm working in this garden so that I can toss them instead of having to worry about potentially transferring something you know, on my gloves to another plant. And the clothes I'm wearing will go into the washing machine when I'm done here. So, booties on, we're gonna plant these up. You can see I just kind of plopped them around. I tried to put the yellows towards the front and the reds and the pinks towards the red-pink combo toward the back. I don't know why, I just thought that would be a good idea. It'll be very interesting to see how these go. I'm not gonna do anything. We're gonna get some rain on these, and then I did scatter some poppy seeds in here too. I kind of doubt those are gonna take because there was a lot of grass being used as, you know, mulch here. So I don't think those are probably going to take, but we'll see. But you know, I'm happy about this prospect of making more of this space, and still very hands-off. I don't have to do anything to Columbine whatsoever. So we'll see how it grows here, and see what happens. I'll tell you, these Aquilegias are this big around now. I divided those. I bought gallons and cut them in half when I first planted them. So tell you what, when plants are happy, they're happy. All right, on to more planting. Well, I didn't bring my camera out here with me, but I did want to show you another plant that I'm planting because I think this is a very underutilized and underknown plant. Okay, today we're talking about this little guy right here. This is Russian or Siberian cypress, Microbiota decussata. I always think that Microbiota sounds like it can't be the name of a plant, but it is. Now I have, this one is the Proven Winners variety, which is called Celtic Pride. But I have 3 other ones in this area growing, which are not the Proven Winners variety. Here, there. So here's what's great about this plant. This is a ground cover evergreen. They're small. This one actually, I think it's a little bit larger than the other ones I've grown. 1 to 3 feet tall, 4 to 6 feet wide. And so that's it. But here's the thing, you guys. They grow in part shade to sun. Like, they grow in almost any condition. They are really adaptable to soil moisture once they're established. They are hardy. They're super hardy. From zone 2 to 7. So obviously, I guess they're called Siberian cypress. You might think that. So this is an evergreen ground cover. Now they do brown out in winter. They bronze out, but then already you can see that these that I've had in the ground here already have their nice green color. They just kind of mound up. They are very pretty plants, and you can plant them on a slope. They're really good for erosion control. Like, why aren't we planting more of these? So anyway, I have 3 here. I'm gonna put another one right here. This tends to get fairly shady. We're underneath the neighbor's maple tree here. Not super shady, definitely sort of part shade. And my hope is that these plants cover this whole area eventually. Because I'm trying not to plant anything too close to the driveways for snow removal purposes and things like that. By the way, I bought this plant. It wasn't like sent to me or anything. So my money is behind it. Oh, by the way, high deer resistance too. The deer don't eat it. So let's check off the list. Shade tolerant, evergreen, hardy down to zone 2, deer resistant, can be grown on a slope, and pretty adaptable to a variety of soils. Is there something else we're looking for in a plant? I can't imagine what that would be. Okay, there it is right there. Like I said, my hope is that these 4 will just fill in this area. I would put another one right there if I could, but there are a lot of plant roots right there, so nothing can really, tree roots, so nothing can really be planted there. But the hope is that they fill in this whole area. Even going back to here, that's the neighbor's side of this. I do manage some of this on everyone's behalf. But I mean, I'm not going to take on a ton more. There's actually some really nice cactuses popping up in there. But some of this is just grass. So anyway, this hopefully will fill in this whole area right here, which is a tough spot because it's right underneath the maple tree. So, although like I said, there is some sort of a bit of sun that pops up in here. Anyway, there's a plant that you probably should be growing.